super curve honing fans, type 2 diabetes rescued by keto fans, and carnivore eating fans, the proper human diet. Bill here. I'm going to do a shave today. Nothing real special. The soap of the day is going to be Mitchell's Wool Fat. It just happened to be in a place where I could kind of pick it up. I don't use it that often, but and I'm going to be using the boar brush. I remember a discussion where somebody had suggested that the only brush to use, and I think he was saying this in jest, but the best brush for Mitchell's Wool Fat was a boar brush. I don't disagree. I like to use a boar brush with this soap. Any hard soap really it's my preference to use a boar brush. But it doesn't matter because you can use any brush you want. You can use... I'm not necessarily a fan, super fan of, even though this is a soap that one could take and use that one soap and only that soap for the entirety of their life and save a lot of money, much like the now defunct Williams had a reputation for. I don't have too much trouble with working up a lather on this. Some people do, I don't. It's one of those things that like my honing method, it can be polarizing. So I had a couple of things I kind of wanted to talk about today that in passing, and this is what I do. This is my channel. This is where I get to talk about things that I want to talk about and maybe show off some of my stuff and some of the things that I can talk about, some of the skills. I've been using this pretty regularly. This is the Dovo Runde Sache. Okay. This is considered an entry-level razor. It has some unique type of laser engraving on both sides. Okay, it is the made in Germany. It lists the steel right here. 12210 is the. Let's see if I can get that in there where you can see that. I don't know if I can, but it's in there. It's the very typical carbon steel that is used from the Heckenrath forge, or where the German people get their lengths from. I think they all use that. The reason I'm using this again, I've been using this pretty regularly because I initially got this. This does suffer some of a common trait that for a long time, I think they've tapered back some of, but had been a trait, and people made fun of them, called it the Dovo frown and all that. Because Dovo, you know, I guess when this thing goes in and out of the double wheel grinder, okay, it's much like when you're honing in any method and you drop if you're honing and you use an extra, as soon as you drop the heel off, you're always going to have less abrasive action on the heel than you would on the toe, which may be the entirety. So if you can envision, you go like this, you have way more contact time here than you do here, even with a convex hone. So contact time in the double wheel grinder, it's a skill that I've thought about a lot. I don't totally understand, nor have I talked to somebody who's actually done that. But that machine, most of them were early 1900s, maybe some refurbished from there, used in Germany and in France. And there's not a whole lot of them around. It was a gizmo that was invented called Hexa, was invented by Carl Friedrich Ern. I think it was credited with that. So I've been using this because I did have to sharpen this a couple times. I did do a video where I pissed and moaned about why this didn't come in to what many people would consider shave ready, and why there was this little lack of a totally straight line okay, which really doesn't matter to me because I hone this up fine, okay, but I did that kind of in jest, but I found that I really am liking this, okay, and one of the unique kind of traits is, 5/8. One of the unique, and this has the shoulderless 5/8 blank, which is unique to Dovo. I don't know if, they're the only German razor maker that I've seen use that. I do know that they have proprietary blank shapes on a number of things. I'm using this because one of the unique traits about the German, and I love my French razors, don't get me wrong, but one of the unique traits in my experience with the German razors is that they have a tendency to grind really, really thin, and with their level of hardening, get a little bit of flexibility in the steel that I do believe that, for me, anyhow, it has a tendency to make the shave feel a little bit smoother. The end of the shave, whether it was this or whether it was a Dovo, Thierry Sard, or whatever else I have, it doesn't matter to me. I own them all pretty much the same, target the same test for sharpness and do along the way make adjustments in my shaving technique to accommodate the particular tool I'm using. So that the end result is indeed the same, but I do feel that this is a little, if I can say softer on the face, that's the best way I can kind of describe it. So I've been just continuing the shave with this because I like it. And it's an inexpensive shave piece. It's considered an entry level, much like Thierry Sard has a couple of entry levels, and they have the plastic scales, but usually plastic scales, they get them really, you could get the same razor or a similar razor with wood scales, and since wood swells and contracts with moisture, you can find that it's tight for a little while, and then the pin kind of becomes loose and flops around. And I'm going to venture to say that most people don't really like scales that flop around on the razor. So that is a new shave design from Dovo for the year 2024 from what I've read. And I've not seen a whole lot around, certainly on YouTube or any other places where shave of the day pics are normally posted. I just have not seen that. Okay, but I like that. I like that razor. I like it, and if I didn't have so many razors, I've always wanted like a 7-day set, and I actually considered even buying a whole bunch of those because there's 3 different colors, and I actually even thought, well, I'll make a 7-day set out of those because I had originally wanted to do it, and I bought like this big box of gold dollars and found that I could take a day or two to hone every gold dollar, and it never shaves that well. It just never shaves that well, no matter what I do. And I've done it just about every possible way that I know how, and ways that I have not even been successful at. But it was a good exercise. Like most things, you learn from rubbing the razor on the stone, how the two are interacting, and what your expectations can be later on. Certainly, I don't consider that a good place. It's a better place to learn honing than a $400 razor, but this does take a little bit of work, okay? And it does take some skill, and if you're new to straight razor shaving, this is not a bad way to get into it. And maybe you can get a couple gold dollars and learn, and then you know, if you bugger up one of these at $140, it's not that big a deal. It's not like a $500 razor. So another thing, I'm shopping around, window shopping. I don't know why I got more stuff than you can shake a stick at. Not as much as some guys. But generally, when I buy something, I usually keep it. So one thing I like and kind of don't like, okay, this does have a square point, which helps around the nose. But last time I shaved with it, got myself one here. So be careful with that. I like to have that for that reason. And if you're out here doing your YouTube things and you're yakking, and last time I shaved, when I cut myself, I was not on YouTube yakking. But I certainly could not have been paying the proper amount of attention. So on the new Dovo for 2024, I noticed there's another blank form, and I'm big into blank forms. Somewhere along the line, one may be in my future, I just don't know. I just don't know if the current offering from Dovo is what I want. But it's an 8/8 blank form. Leon bought, and Leon, do keep him in, if you are a person of a faith. Do keep him in your prayers for this upcoming week. He has an opportunity for an employment situation he would like. But he bought a really, really pretty, you've seen it if you follow him, you've seen that razor on his videos. That's almost, it's not a perfect two-pass shave, but it's almost a good two-pass shave. So there's that 8/8 blank form. The Dovo has one. I forget what they called it. It's, they call it a burnished finish, which to me looks like a black electroplate. I don't know the difference. I don't understand it. But that coating or plating or burnishing or whatever is not something that really necessarily appeals to me. But I did like the looks of that 8/8 razor. It's not cheap, okay? So I'm guessing that Dovo, that blank form came up. Maybe the Heck and Rath Forge made a bunch of them, or maybe the German razor makers get together and place a group order so that the Forge makes this run and everybody gets to partake in that. I don't know if you'll see that again. I did see that razor at the Superior Shave, and it could be one of those things, you know, where it's here and then it's gone and you get the fear of missing out, okay? And if you're a collector, sometimes that motivates you. I'm just not motivated to collect, even though I like the differences in the blanks. I'm not motivated to collect something that otherwise is just not, shall we say, in my wheelhouse. And just sitting here painting the soap on, I'm thinking about the soap. So there's that 8/8 razor. Look at those things. These are really, really cool. Ultimately, I mean, I have a couple 8/8s. I have a Philharmonica. I have a custom 8/8s. I don't really need another 8/8s, but I kind of would like to have one. Got myself right there. You start to see it to bleed. But one of the things I was thinking about, and I don't know if I said this yet or not, but I was thinking about Mitchell's Wool Fat. And it ain't real hard soap. I'm not a terribly big super fan of these hard soaps. They are an economical way to go, regardless of which one. They usually work pretty good. I just don't seem to think they work quite as well, even though they may be tallow or whatever your choice is for vegan or whatever. I just don't seem to think they work quite as well. I don't know why. And it could be in the, my lathering technique could be just a little short. So there is one other thing that I came up in my mind the other week, and I did want to share. Look, I got matching cuts. I didn't bring my Allen block. I don't have to escape for that Hopefully I seal that up with the alum block. So one of the one thing I wanted to discuss, if you've listened to me for a while, you know my history, you know that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of certain shave forums for reasons that are no secret. And I've been critical, and I've had a lot of fun doing that, and many people like me poking fun of them, and because it's always fun to make fun of an egotistical know-it-all. So actually, I'm going to take back what I said about Mitchell's wool effect, because this does have a nice residual slickness that I'm feeling. So maybe I did a little bit better on my lather this time than usual. I seem to be able to do a lot more cleanup with this razor than I would with a TI. I don't know if it's that I need to or I can, or because it seems to be gentler. Let me go get my alum stick. Or alum chunk. I think this chunk here was, I don't use it for that, but I think this chunk, this is the, I guess it's Osma or whatever. I think this stuff can be used like as an antiperspirant. I don't like antiperspirants of any type because they seem to like clump up on my shirts and stuff under my arms, so I don't use them. And I certainly am not using this on my underarms and then on my face. It just so happens that this was big and available and cheap enough that I bought it. And then later on found out that that's actually what was for, and most people use the square block. So, getting back to honing and shave forms, one of the goals that I had in presenting and spending the time in my honing and talking about it was to make an attempt to normalize the style, okay? Because you know, it works for me. It's legitimate style, and that has, I believe, had some good starts, and I think that is finally starting to happen. And people who have long been hesitant to make videos and display that and show that are open enough and willing to do that now. So I kind of feel that that was a goal that was of mine that was achieved. I've not done it alone. I have helped in that. And the people who do that are usually mostly known to each other. And they're obviously the reviver of the style and the person who found was able to find the ancient German gardener's handbook detailing the style and documented it going back to 1840-ish or something like that. It was Jared Connerty who was the one who started it all to begin with, and he took horrible beatings on shave forms because of that. But he stuck to his gun, and I found it worked for me, and other people did. And there is a a mighty Viking, if I may say. He occasionally listens to, I don't know if he listens to all my stuff, but he does occasionally tune in. And I'm using Witch's Orange Chill Hazel. Witches of Hazel. Orange Chill. I do like this. It's a little less expensive than Lucky Tiger. I would not consider it much different. A little stronger in the citrus scent than that, than Lucky Tiger. But anyhow, the Viking, JPO, on YouTube. I think his full identity on YouTube is JPO31. On forums, you would find him as just JPO. Has been a great friend to a lot of things in the hobby of wet shaving, but primarily, but I wouldn't say primarily, but one of the big contributions that I find is that he has a great engineering background, and he is calmer than I am and more eloquent than I am, and in many times he was able to with great eloquence shut down people who were on the personal attack of convex honing. Okay, now this is not all that he done. He uses that as a tool. Pretty much I largely use that for everything, simply because I've not been successful with the different efforts in flat honing. I'm not giving that up, okay, but it's on the back burner for me because I get what I want out of my particular stuff. Okay, so the aftershave today is the Colonel Ichabod Conch Lime. I don't know where you could even get this anymore. I don't know how much it's available. It still does have kind of that lime candy smell, but not as bad as some of the lime things. But it certainly doesn't have that crisp citrusy lime like a fresh lime. And on the label here, it doesn't even really, it says it's an aftershave and cologne. It does have a good strength to it. But getting back to JPO, and John, thank you for all your work. Thank you over the years for your support. But I want to encourage people to do something that you're not going to believe I'm saying this. John, JPO, has made in the journal section of the Bludgeon and Beatdown Shave Forum a journal where he talks about his honing and he talks about his daily stuff. It's really, really a good read. Okay, so if you could put up with the commercials from Joel Badger, and if you can duck under and around the moderatoritas that got these egos, it's a good place to go. And even if you're not a member, I don't necessarily encourage you to be a member. You can go in with an ad blocker and you go in and you can look. Do look at that. John has some great contributions. This is what shave forums were almost always about at one time, until people started coming out and in attack mode on different things, including Mitchell's wool fat and including convex honing. Okay, so I got some sort of powder here in the powder cannon, one of the powder cannons, and I'm gonna do the thing. Now, a lot of people would put this on a brush. I think for me, a brush, you don't need a powder cannon. You could actually sprinkle it on a terry cloth like this and do this. It's a great feel and a great finish if you have not done it. I've not used cornstarch, which is commonly on a lot of powders now, but I do like talc for me. And I guess the reason I did not use it is when I was working in situations where I was outside and perspiring, and when I was much heavier than I am now, carrying around a lot of weight. It was not uncommon to get a chafing between your thighs. And talc was a good lubricating thing to help keep your skin from sticking. I did not find that cornstarch gave that same effect. It seemed like it was, because cornstarch is more readily soluble in water, okay, and it is a food-based product as opposed to a mineral, okay. I find it gets a little sticky and can kind of clump, okay. So that's been my finding on the powder. But I did want to say that on the on JPO, my salute to him if he turns in. And another thing, for those of you who are interested in convex honing, there's a great gentleman who's been quiet for a long time, but a big fan of the style. And Jared's been, I don't think he's looking for fame or anything like that, but he's been sharing videos with Jared, and Jared has allowed him to post them up on his channel. He has some good stuff, some really interesting stuff, including the introduction of the use of lapping films on a shaped piece of wood, okay, which is really interesting to me. Maybe something that I'll play with at some point in time. He seems to get what I call the back beveling on the really curvy dimension of the Jared plate. Let me get to that one too. The 6-foot wheel, he does seem to, with ease and proficiency and speed, cut that back bevel in quite nicely with a lapping film on a little piece of wood, and so it's an inexpensive way to get into that and maybe find out whether this style improves your edge. And another thing, Jared, I know you listen. Jared, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're finally calling your invention the Jared plate, okay? I'm just so happy that you feel comfortable to do that. I'm glad that you went ahead and placed another order for that product. I encourage anybody who tunes in to go to the Superior Shave if you are interested in having one of those shaping plates to shape stones, wood, plastic, or whatever. It is a great tool. It is, in my opinion, while I have shaped stones without that into different shapes, it is a great starter tool to have, and I encourage people. I wasn't sure if Jared was going to order any more of those, but he did. I did see them on his website when I was looking at that 8/8 Dovo razors. Yes. So this is Bill. I forgot to say it's October the 12th, 2024. I wish everybody a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. This is Bill. Out. Bye.